Hi guys, it's Teacher Tana and welcome back to my online classroom. Today I want to answer a question that I've been getting from so many teachers, and that question is, how do I create an online community like the one that I can create in my physical classroom? So today I want to share with you a tech tool that I have found that I feel recreates this environment for us, and that tool is called Padlet. So I use Padlet to create a virtual gallery walk for my students. So students at the end of a unit can really show off some of the work that they've been doing, and they post it onto this Padlet digital gallery wall, and other students can see their work and they can also comment on it. I really think that interaction between commenting and seeing each other's work is really helping me to continue to have that classroom feel, that community feel within a virtual environment. All right, so I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay, so let's hop right in. So first of all, I wanted to show you some examples of Padlets because there are many different ways that you can use them. I'm going to focus today on using them to collaborate and kind of have like a virtual gallery walk with your students, but the possibilities are really endless and up to you as far as how far you want to take the tool, and it's just a really neat tool. So you want to go to padlet.com just like I did, and you want to sign up for free. Now, when you have the free option, you can keep up to 3 Padlet gallery walls up, and I'll explain what that means in just a second. Let me go ahead and log in. Okay, so first I wanted to show you this really neat feature now that we're inside of Padlet, and that is the gallery. So when you look through the gallery, you can see all kinds of examples of how teachers or really anybody has used Padlet in their classroom. I want to focus today on how to use it to collaborate and do like a gallery wall, as well as a virtual turn and talk. All right, so one feature that I wanted to show you was the gallery wall. And I love this section because it really allows you. All right, so one section that I did want to show off today is the gallery. And I love the gallery because it allows you to see how other people have used the tool of Padlet. It's really interesting, so I'm going to go ahead and just click it right now so you can see how I got to it. There are all kinds of ways that you can use Padlet. So if you're running out of ideas or you're trying to be creative, you can definitely jump in here and figure out some ways. These are some examples here, like favorite literary quotes. Students can post their favorite quote that they like. They can interact with each other on those quotes. Here's another one about timelines. So you can use it just to share information with your students or have the students create timelines. This is really neat ways to use it. Now I'm going to use it specifically to do kind of an online virtual gallery walk so students can see each other's finished work and that they also can respond to each other's work. So really the possibilities are endless, and if you're looking for ways, not quite sure how to use it, but want to engage in the tool, please spend some time within this gallery to find some useful ways. All right, so what you want to do is you want to click over here where it says make a Padlet. So we're going to go ahead and open that. And again, the possibilities are endless of what this can look like. You can do a wall, a canvas where things are kind of connected in a way, a stream, which is just information top to bottom, similar to what you would see on a blog. You've got grid where you can arrange content in rows, shelf so you can stack things in columns. A back channel is a really interesting way for students to discuss and have discussions back and forth. A map, and a timeline. So again, any of these are really useful. I'm going to jump straight into the wall. So I'm going to select that. And there's a ton of customization that you can do. You can see it's already kind of set up for you, but it allows you to change everything. So here it says, welcome to your new Padlet here on the right side. I want to name it. So I'm just going to name it Sample Padlet. And then here I can put a description. So upload your artwork here. Okay, actually, let's name it something like artwork. All right. Okay, so here you can see I can copy the link to the clipboard and I could share it already. I would possibly share this in a Google Classroom setting if I had a Google Classroom. This year I'm using a different LMS, so I would probably copy and paste into that. The good thing about it, it's the URL, so it doesn't matter what kind of learning management system you have, you can copy and paste it into that. So I can change things like the wallpaper, so they've got lots of pictures that I can use. I usually like to go a little more simple when I'm having students upload things, so I'll just probably pick a Blackboard. That way the focus can be on their work. I could also always pick a solid color like black or gray, anything like that. I can change the gradients. So really the possibilities here are just endless. You can do a fall theme, teacher theme, all kinds of really interesting things. Oh, I kind of like the corkboard. All right, I can also add my own picture if I wanted to. All right, then from there, I can also change the color scheme. So I can make it so that it is darker or light, meaning in this case, the text is going to be light on dark, and here it's going to be dark on light. I can do that. I can change the size of my font, so you can see it changing right here in the left-hand corner when I'm doing that. All right, so I think I like this one. All right, display attribution. So attribution, I think, is an important thing to have, and I'm going to put yes. And what that does is going to display the author's name or whoever posted it on top of their post, and I really like that. And I'm going to show you a trick too to ensure that students actually get attributed, because sometimes there can be a little wonky setting here. New position, where do I want new post up here? I can put first or last. I usually put last. That kind of keeps my sample post first, so they can always refer back to it. Comments, do I want viewers to comment on posts? I'm going to say yes, but this is because I have trained my students on how to interact in an online environment in a respectful manner. If you haven't quite done that yet, I would do a few lessons of that and really feel like I can trust my students before I allow them to comment on each other's reactions. So this is another cool way for students to interact. You can have no reactions. You can like posts. You can vote up and down. You can star post from 1 to 5, or you can give a grade. Normally, I like to keep this as none, or sometimes I like to put like, so students can see each other and kind of like champion each other. I don't really like votes. I think that can be a little awkward sometimes in classes. I don't want students to feel badly if they didn't get enough votes, or stars. I don't want them to feel like badly in that way either. So anything that kind of gives them a pump up, I'm going to use. Anything that might kind of be a little iffy, I try to stay away from. So I'm just going to keep it as none for now. And then this is what I was talking about, having comment approval. So it's going to be approval for them to actually post something onto the grid. So students can't just automatically go in there and put things in there. Unless, I mean, they can put it in there, but it won't be visible to the public or to the rest of their classmates until I approve it. I like to do this at the beginning of the year and then kind of slowly wean them off of it. Again, they start noticing like what's appropriate, what isn't. We have lots of conversations about it. So that would be wrapped up in my teaching of like how to interact respectfully in an online environment as well. So I'm going to put require approval this time just because. Filter profanity, why not? I'm just going to go ahead and put that on there. And then I am done. So I can press next. And then I can start positioning. So it says use the post button, drag files in, double click anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and start posting. So I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to post. So all you have to do is press this click button down here. It turns into a little edit pencil. And now I can post whatever I want. All right, so the first thing I always want to post is an example. So everything that I ask my students to do, I try to do as well, or I make sure to do as well so that they have a clear example of what the expectations are. So this is kind of my sample post. So for title here, I'm going to write your name, because right in this section, I want students to put their name first and last. So it kind of just makes it really clear. And then write something here. I want you to list the artist name. So now students know exactly what I want them to do, okay? And now I want them to upload picture or upload attribution work below. Okay, so there are different ways that students can upload their work. So they can just press the up arrow and then they can click files that I've already loaded into my drive. So you can see all these files I've already picked. These I can also pick them from my computer. They can also add a link to their piece of work, and this is really helpful if you're working in conjunction with like Google Drive, or because maybe what they're uploading is really a big file, and so this makes it easy for them to share with you. You can also share straight from the web. So if students find an image that they want to share from the web, they can copy and paste it right in. And then finally, they can take a picture using their camera. So it's going to ask you obviously permission, you press allow and make sure it's on the FaceTime camera, and then they can take a picture. and upload that one. Okay, pretty simple to do. I usually have them put a link to their something that they've uploaded into Google Drive. And the reason I like to do that is because it actually gives you, you can actually see their work here. So let me do an example here. So I'm going to grab something from my Google Drive and I'll be right back. Okay, so here I'm in my Drive, and this is actually a student's work. So it's attribution, and they did a Warhol attribution. So I'm going to go ahead and show how they would share it. They press the share button. They want to make sure here that it says anyone with the link can share, and that's a big issue with our students that forgetting to do that. It's really important. So copy the link here, and then they would go and you could just paste the link right into there. And you're going to see that it's going to load right on there. You can actually see a little mini version of it, which is awesome. And now it's done. So notice once I finished, or I clicked away, and so it became saved. Now I can add a comment. So for me, I'm going to write, hey kiddos, oops, let me go back. I forgot, if you press enter, it's going to go ahead and save it. So here we go. Hey kiddos, use this as an example for your post. So again, I always want to have students have I always want to give students an example. So this is my example update, and then it's ready to go. So now I'm ready to share this assignment so that students can also add their own work to our gallery wall. Now to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click share up here. And I'm also going to tell you some settings that I would probably set up before I share this with my students and kind of explain the differences between them. So invite members. Here I can invite students one-on-one to contribute, but this can be really time consuming, especially if you've got large classes. I know that I teach up to 110 kids in my English language development classes already, so that's too many for me to invite one by one. So I'm not going to mess with that. I am going to change some of the privacy settings. Right now it's hidden from the public, and I actually want to keep it that way because it's my students' personal work. Now, if I wasn't concerned about their personal work or their name being out there, then I wouldn't care about that. But for right now, I want to keep it private. There's a couple other settings you can choose. So private is hidden from the public. So even if they manage to find it in some way, they can't access it. Password, they're going to need a password for it. So that might be a consideration. Maybe you have a classroom password and your students can only get to it with that. I like to do secret, and what this does is keeps it secret from the public, which is what I want. But if I share it with someone, they can access it. So the link that I'm going to share with my students is going to allow them to access it. And then finally, public, which means the whole world can see it. They can also make a copy of it if it's in public view. So when we went back previously and we looked at the gallery, those are all public, meaning anyone can see them and anyone can copy, paste them, and personalize them themselves. So I'm just going to leave it as secret, and I'm also going to make sure my visitors have permission to write. I want them to be able to read it, but I want them to also be able to comment on each other, and to do that, they need to be able to write. And to edit means that they can delete and modify others' Padlets, so I don't want to give them that setting right now. So I'm just going to keep it at can write. And then I'm ready to go back from that one. So my privacy is set. Here I've got the copy link to clipboard. I also have a QR code, and those are really handy, so you can use that instead of a link if you'd like to, whichever one. You can embed it into your blog. You can also email to students, a couple of other social medias you can share on Facebook and Twitter. Oh, and I love this button is you can share it directly to Google Classroom, and that's my favorite button when I was fully using Google Classroom in March when COVID began. Really handy things as well is I can save the Padlet when it's done as an image, or I can save it as a PDF. I can save it as a CSV, as an Excel spreadsheet. So it's going to put all the information in a spreadsheet, which actually makes it pretty handy to catch different information. And I can also print it. I really like saving it as an image or a PDF. That's my favorite way to save it. I think it doesn't distort it, makes it really easy to read. Now, if I want to grab everything at once, the spreadsheet is also really useful because I can click on individual students' assignments, that kind of thing. So kind of play with these and figure out which one you end up liking. So I'm going to close that. It's ready to go. Actually, I'm going to go back and copy the link to the clipboard because this is the link that I'm going to give to students. So I'm going to log back in, this time using an incognito window. So now I'm pretending to be the student. So I'm going to paste the link in there that I was given. And now I can see the Padlet, I can see the sample right here, and then I also can see that I have access to edit this. So I'm going to go ahead and do so. So I'm going to say add post, and then I know for your name, I have to put my first and last names, Emily Smith. Okay, so there's Emily Smith. Notice as I'm typing on the kids side, my side is being shown. But here's something that I also want to point out. It has an approve button here. So I have to approve it to be shown. And the student also knows that it requires approval on their end. So they can't just like put it in there. Once they're done with it, then I'm going to be able to say yes or no on what they did. I really like that feature for a couple different reasons. One, it makes sure everything stays appropriate. Two, I don't want a student to put something on there that doesn't meet the requirements and then maybe get ridiculed by another student. I want to take care of all that work on my end so that the gallery wall is really a way for them to just brag on themselves and on their hard work. That's my sole goal here. Okay, so now I want them to write the artist's name. So they're doing pop art, and all of them have, and Emily, let's say, has also chosen to do an Andy Warhol-esque attribution, so Andy Warhol, and then I'm going to upload. This time I'm going to show you how easy it is to upload from the computer. So I'm going to do pick file, and then this is my downloaded file right here, and it's uploading. So of course you're going to have to walk students through uploading and downloading, but once they get it, they get it. And so there it is, ready to go. So Emily's post is ready. She knows that it requires approval. She can walk away at this point, and then on my end, I'm going to go ahead and approve it. So as the teacher, I'm going to click the approve here, and now you can see it's on there. So the cool part now is that students can comment on Emily's post. They can comment on my post, all kinds of stuff. And usually I have students, I require them to comment on at least one other person's quote. So actually I might fix that in my directions. And this is the good thing about like being able to edit my work, is that I can go back and fix things whenever I want to. So I'm going to go back to settings, description, upload your artwork here, comment on one classmate's post. Follow our comment guidelines. So again, this is something that I would teach them beforehand. So for us and my classes, we have very specific comment guidelines. So I like to keep my comments in two categories, our commenting rules or our guidelines. And the first guideline is that students can comment about something they liked or were really impressed by in their students, in their fellow classmates' work. And the second thing they can comment on is if something in the work resonated with the students, like made them think about something else or reminded them about something else. So I really like to make those text-to connections. So I want the students to connect to each other, and I want the students to connect to the work personally, and I think that really makes it the most effective type of teaching. So there you go. Now the post is approved. On the student side, if they were to press update, they would, and you can also refresh. Now they can see that their post is up there, and they can do it, they can go ahead and comment on other students' work. Now, the reason I asked, I said to make sure they put their first and last name here is that if the student isn't signed into Padlet, and I do not require students to have a Padlet account, some of them do, but I don't require it. So if I'm not going to require it, their post is going to show up as anonymous, if you can see that here on the top. And that's why I had them first write their first and last name. This ensures that I can see their post no matter what, and that I know who created the post, because the worst thing is to get a Padlet full of amazing artwork and have no idea who did what. Okay, so now I'm done with the Padlet, and so I'm going to show you some other housekeeping tips as the teacher managing this Padlet. So if I go up back here to Padlet, I'm back to my home page, and right now I've got 3 Padlets open. All 3 of them are based on our art unit, which was our final unit during the March to May COVID chaos. So here they are. Well, now it's August, and I want to start using the Padlet board again, but I don't want to pay for Padlet just yet. So in order to keep this free, what I can do is get rid of one of my Padlets. And this is because Padlet only allows you to have 3 free, like, Padlets on it. Only 3 of them. So what I like to do is just right click it here where it's got those 3 dots, and I like to just archive it. I don't want to delete it just yet because sometimes I want to use some of these pieces as examples for the following year. So I'm just going to archive it, and when you see archive, it kind of goes away. I'm archiving, and then I can always go to archived, and they're right there, and I can actually unarchive these. And when I do that, it puts them right back to my recent. So I can kind of play around with them. I can edit them. I can save pieces of them if I want to. One really handy thing as well that I can do, let me unarchive the one we were working on, is I can remake them. So let's say I really liked this one and I want to do it again for another class, or maybe I did it in March and I want to do it again in August. I can press the remake button. It'll create a remake, like a copy of it, so I can change it. Maybe I'll put 2021 artwork. That way I can keep it separate from my last one. But you can see it copies the design. I can also copy the post, and sometimes I want to do that just so I don't have to redo my sample one, but sometimes it's easier to just redo it, because if I do copy post, it's going to copy everyone's artwork, and I'm not sure that I want to have everyone's artwork, but it is handy if you want to copy the sample one and maybe a couple exemplar ones that students have created. So a couple other options here. I can copy people in privacy. So again, because I already have mine set as private, it's going to copy as private or as secret. And I can also copy authorship, so make sure that the author's names are going to be remain, right? So it makes sure that I give credit to where credit is due. So that's really handy too. If I do that, submit, it's going to take a second to remake in progress. And so now you can see I actually recopied it without any of the posts. So I'm going to have to physically go in and create everything again. All right, so now our last bit of what to do in Padlet. So we've got our post on here. Students can write to each other, write to you, and then you can see here these little options popped up here. So I can delete the post if I want to, or I can edit it. I can also click these 3 dots to see some other options. They include changing the background color. So you see I'm changing them here. I can also transfer the post. So let's say I really like this post and I want to move it into a different Padlet. I can transfer it over. I can make a copy of the post. I can expand the post. I really like expanding it because you can see it in like a full-sized view. So that's really helpful. All right, and the last one is to set a cover. So you can see here, I've already set a cover, so I'm going to unset as cover and set it again to show you. So that basically means when a student shares this file, that this will be what is going to show up as the cover artwork for. So I just wanted to wrap up with saying this is just a really simple way to have students collaborate and write back and forth to each other. They can upload, really the possibilities are endless. They can do videos, they can do sample essays, they can do artwork like you're seeing right here. It's really fast and easy to see. I think it's really friendly on the eyes. And then with them being able to comment back and forth on each other, I think that creates that collaboration and that like sense of community that we might be struggling with a little bit more in the online environment. So I would definitely suggest using something like this, especially at the end of a unit when you're just celebrating like all the hard work that the students have. Okay, everyone, I hope you found this information useful, and I hope you're able to implement it right away so that you can start having that community feel within your virtual classroom. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any comments, suggestions for new videos, don't forget to add those below as well. All right, see you on the internet.